does it again. And you know what? We talked about greatness with Nathan MacKinnon last game being erased by Tyler Bozak. Not in Edmonton, baby. Connor McDavid pulls the Wayne Gretzky. Gretzky scores in the Battle of Alberta in overtime. Last time, Connor McDavid copies the great one. The next one ends up putting it in, burying it, carrying the Oilers to the Western Conference Final, and 1 year removed from being swept by the Winnipeg Jets. Every Facebook and Oil Nation saying trade McDavid or trade Draisaitl. Look, it's Facebook. It doesn't represent all of Oil Nation. We know that. McDavid does it. And the next one is money. Wow. McDavid, Draisaitl, Kane, and Hyman carry the team over the juggernaut that is the Calgary Flames. And the juggernaut ends up being, well, full of holes like Swiss cheese. They get beat by the Oilers, and the Oilers are off to the races. They will await the winner of the Avs and the Blues. We're going to break down the kick or not kick. We're going to break down some of the goals. We're going to talk about this series. Flames fans, we're going to tell you where you go from here. Just a tiny little preview. We'll have a full video for you guys later. We're going to talk about all the greatness that is the Edmonton Oilers. We're going to talk about it now. Well, that's it. The Battle of Alberta is in the books, and Edmonton does it 4 in a row. A little bit shaky of a first start there by Edmonton, but Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, Evander Kane, and Zach Hyman lead the charge. The heavy-handed top 6 of the Edmonton Oilers destroy the Calgary Flames all over the series. And why do I say destroy? Because these guys scored at will. Absolutely at will. If you've been on this channel for some time, you know what I'm going to say. The goalies in the West, not even talking about just this series, Western Conference goalies, the final 4 left, not that impressed by them. The goal scoring in the West, wow, they are taking full advantage of this all over the Western Conference. The East, defensive battles, you gotta love it. Bolts end up leaning on a goaltender to win. The Panthers, hot goalie, but he was the second best Russian goalie in the series. The Rangers and Canes, defense, defense, defense. And in the West, it is goal o'clock, baby. Time to light the lamp. Who needs a goalie? Put the shooter tutors in. Light them up, boys, because this is exciting hockey. Wow, ratings are going to be drawn, and storylines are made, hearts are broken, and controversies arise. A kicking motion, or was it? At the end of the day, this is going to go down as one of the most controversial calls in NHL history. You can bank on it. This is right up there with the infamous Brett Hull foot in the crease. The only reason the foot in the crease wins is because it was a direct contributor in the game to winning the Stanley Cup for the Dallas Stars. But this is a very, very close number 2. And at the end of the day, folks, you're going to be on one side or you're going to be on the other. You've heard me say it. Flames fans, if you've come here for absolution, you will get none from me. The referee makes the call. You've heard me say it. Are the rules junk? You know it. Do we appreciate referees? What they do we think they get it right? In their own minds, this happens to every team across the NHL. The only thing consistent in the NHL is inconsistency. You can bank on that one. The refs make a hard decision, and I guarantee you 50% of people on this channel think the call was right and 50% think the call was wrong. If you were in Canada, and you likely are if you watch this series, you heard panels discussing it. You heard the non-NHL pro players say, come on, guys on one foot, no way you can make a kicking motion. First thing I thought, all right, I'm a pretty good skater myself. Could I do that? Nope, not a chance. And then Kevin Bieksa spoke. You guys know I love Bieksa. I think he's the best analyst in sports. Anytime he speaks, I listen. He is clearly, in my opinion, the right guy. If anybody is to ever take over a coach's corner, it should be that. He says, I don't know. I think that's a kicking motion. But remember, he also said, I think Kadri caused a pileup. So you may like his opinion, you may not. I'm just sharing with you what he said. He said, a guilty mind. I think I could have done that. Again, paraphrasing. That's what I took from Kevin Bieksa in that one. He was argued on the panel, but I always kind of lean and listen to the pro NHL players. And I'm sure if we have a bunch of other pro NHL players in the tweets and Twitter, they're going to go the other way because it was that controversial. On one hand, it is a player on one foot and a distinct kicking motion. Apparently, I just learned this during this broadcast, doesn't have to be a kicking motion. Mind exploded. It just has to be your foot putting the puck in the net. I thought it was a redirect. I wouldn't have called it a no goal, but my opinion doesn't matter. Neither does yours. Only the referees on the ice does. He calls it no goal, and there's no challenge to be had. There's nothing you can do about it. Then you have to go on and win the game, but you don't because Connor McDavid ends up burying it on you. You've also heard me say this on this channel. You may like it, you may not, but you got to tell me I am consistent. You have control of this series. Never put a series in the hands of a referee. 98% of the game is in control by the players. Call like that goes the wrong way and it blows it. You could have scored more goals before, or you could have kept more pucks out of your net before. Referee can't score goals for you. Sure, they can take one away, but you had the opportunity to put more pucks in the net, not just this game, but for multiple games. And I thought Daryl Sutter and his Daryl Sutterisms, you got to love Daryl Sutter. Everybody in the media loves Daryl Sutter right now because at his age, with his experience, with his pedigree, he'll say whatever he wants, and that's a breath of fresh air in hockey. Once again, paraphrasing, Daryl Sutter basically said before this game started, everybody is talking to him in the media about what Calgary is doing wrong. Does anybody want to just admit that Edmonton is beating us and maybe their first line and players are better than ours? Paraphrasing again. And that is the confidence Daryl Sutter commands. The honesty Daryl Sutter commands. You get an insight into what coaches like this may or may not say in the dressing room because you can bet your bottom dollar. He told his players that. Not blaming you, not saying you're bad. You're an adult. You're a paid professional in a results-based business, and I, Daryl Sutter, am communicating to you in my Daryl Sutter way when this dressing room door is closed that you are getting beat. So, you want to be the man. Woo! You got to beat the man.
But to be the man, you got to beat the man.
And Johnny Gaudreau and the Calgary Flames did not beat the man, and the man is Connor McDavid.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
And speaking of Ric Flair greatness and woos, go ahead, smash subscribe for us. Flames fans, Oiler fans, it's been awesome hanging out with you guys here. We made a prediction of Calgary in 7. First prediction we got wrong in this. Not a big deal. You know why? Because that's why we play the game. If we knew the answer to every single question without dropping the puck, we wouldn't be obsessively focused on this game, would we? So go ahead, smash subscribe. Let's follow the Oilers in the next round together. Let's follow the Bolts in the next round together. Let's see how we do. And you tell me who your prediction is for the next round, who the Bolts are going to face, who the Oilers are going to face. You let me know in the comments. You let me know in our Discord by joining it in the link below. You let me know if you like the contents in the videos by giving me a thumbs up. If you don't, take the power in your hands. Smash that thumbs down. I dare you. It doesn't do anything anyway. It just promotes my video higher because you're interacting with it. We just want you to enjoy the content any way you enjoy it. So if this fires you up and you watch it till the end, thank you for being here. We humbly appreciate it. If it fires you up in a positive way, thank you for being here. We love you for being positive and watching it. So thanks for the support. You all rock. And if you'd like to support us further, we have a members page down below. Smash join these beauty members that we have here right now. Think about maybe throwing us a super thanks for staying up late, providing you with the free content. It'll always be free. We'll always be here with you. Now, why don't we go ahead and talk about some goals, because we talked about controversy. We talked about the greatness that is Connor McDavid, and Flames fans, don't worry. We're going to review your future after a few of these goals. Dinger time. Obviously a little bit of a tentative first period here. Hey, just a little bump in. It's a 3-on-4, Draisaitl and McDavid on defense. There's a couple people out there that do think sometimes there are defensive lapses from the first line. Ends up getting dumped in here in what we call a soft dump, and it's perfect because it is just the right temperature to make sure that Mike Smith Smith can't go ahead and play it. And yes, I equated speed with temperature. Great forecheck. They end up forcing it around the wall. And because they end up forcing it and widening the zone, that is going from left and right and changing the angle, they're going to lose the trailing in Andrew Mangiapane. He ends up beating Mike Smith. Look, I've been hard on all goalies in the West. When you have this many goals scored against you and you're paid the bag you are, you got to be a little bit hard on him. But Mike Smith gets a pass. Let me tell you why. It's that simple. All he's expected to do and paid to do is stop the first one. Be good enough to keep the Oilers in the game and win the show. And he's done it. He's done his job. There's nothing more you can say. Him and Antti Raanta are the best values in the playoffs. They're not taking up a lot of cap space on the teams. They're not taking up a lot of distance on the teams in terms of money or whatever else you're doing. And they're playing good enough to help their teams win. That's exactly what you need. Antti Niemi won a cup with the Chicago Blackhawks. He wasn't anything elite, in my opinion, when you watched it. So you just need a goalie playing hot enough in the moment in order to win, and that's what Smith delivers. Markstrom, on the other hand, on the other side, he got the bag. He got paid. When you pay a goalie like that, you're signifying he's one of the most important players on your roster. You're signifying that that goalie is good enough to not only keep you in this game, but steal games for you. It didn't happen from Markstrom. So you can say both goalies kind of struggled. They did. You may or may not like that take, but because of the money paid for them and the expectations on both of them, look, Markstrom, I think, drops the ball. Smith gets the win and is doing his job. But Edmonton fans, don't tell anybody about Mika Koskinen. He's really expensive as a backup. That wasn't a good signing. It'll be our secret. No one knows. Goal number 2, Mickael Backlund just goes ahead and he throws it on net here. Sorry, Stone throws it on net. Backlund gets the goal. It goes in. And right away, you're kind of wondering, you're like, oh my God, Mike Smith again? Well, when you look at it a little closer here, what you realize is Smith's got an actually pretty good angle on this puck. It's going low. There's no problem. And it is a soft, beautiful tip that ends up beating him high short side. There's nothing a goalie can do about this one. You can't track these. Yes, it's an errant tip. Yes, you've heard me say goalies should be able to follow tips. They should be able to get in front of it with body position. This one is different. Every tip is different. You can't just say because it tipped, we forgive the goalie. No, not how it works. This was a beautiful puck on net by Stone, but an even better piece of body positioning by Backlund. And the challenge with it is that Darnell Nurse didn't lift his stick. Cross check, battle. Lift the stick, man. That's all you got to do in order to stay out of danger here. Nurse, I think, is one of the elite defensemen in the NHL. But this whole series, he loves beating guys up in front. It pays off because guys don't want to sit in front of it with a guy like Nurse. But at the right time, you got to be able to change from the cross check and lift the stick. Leon Draisaitl with a beauty here and McDavid with a little bit of viciousness. Take a look here. Look, if you want to have complaints, Calgary Flames fans, you can have complaints all you want about the referee. I hear you. I feel you, but it's irrelevant because the Oilers won. McDavid, boom, big hit, gets a stick up in the face. It doesn't matter if it's incidental. It's a stick to the face. There is no such thing as intent when it comes to a high sticking call. Couple things go down. You can see him down. He's bleeding. It should be a 4-minute penalty at this point in time. No way, Jose, because we're going to watch the greatness of Leon Draisaitl here. One hand, the big man ends out up muscling him. And I mean, Draisaitl is a force. This guy's on one leg, but regardless of his one-legged status or not, he's an absolute monster and he feeds it out to Darnell Nurse there, who ends up putting it in the net. So sometimes you're the Toronto Maple Leafs and you get a phantom high stick where you don't touch the face. And sometimes you're the Edmonton Oilers and you get away with a high stick that does touch the face. But did a high stick really happen if it's not called? Tree falls in the forest. Nobody around to hear it. Good goal, I guess. Jesse Poole Party is going to go ahead and tie it up. Puljujarvi ends up turning it over. Look, we said if you don't score in Edmonton, they score from their own zone. We have been saying this the entire series. Smith, beautiful redirect into the corner, and this actually leads to the goal. It's the quick turnaround of the Edmonton Oilers. They are off to the races. The transition game of the Oilers is incredible. Like they're gonzo, and this is Zach Hyman being Zach Hyman. He has been absolutely a monster for the Oilers in this series. Ends up with a beautiful shot on net. Markstrom is leaky. Nice save. Ends up going through his glove. Puljujarvi puts it in the net. You can see here Markstrom gets a piece of it, but it ends up getting behind him. And I'm sorry, you're paid to have it. You're paid to put that, to save that. That's your job. You have to do that in order to win a series. He didn't do this all series. Puljujarvi going hard to the net like you should. Beauty goal. Now we're going to get 4 goals in, I believe, a minute 20. Of course, it's the Edmonton power play. It's deadly. It's the best power play in the Western Conference right now. They end up moving it north to south. It gets blocked. It goes in an interesting spot. It's McDavid on it, of course. Who else would it be? He's the fastest guy in the game with or without the puck. McDavid pulls up that puck, ends up widening the zone to his buddy Leon Draisaitl. We talk about widening the zone all the time. If you can widen the zone, you're going to score. We also talk about the penalty kill, cutting the zone off into quadrants. The Calgary Flames go to cut it off into quadrants here, as you can see. Hey, look, sorry, it's my John Madden board scratching capabilities. They cut it off into a quadrant, but they are unable to do it fast enough. And a quick little bump out to Draisaitl allows him to exploit the slowness and the transition of the Flames on the kill. It ends up moving over. Quick little shot. And stop me if you've seen this movie before, but Zach Hyman on the back door, being Zach Hyman, muscling it in. Bingo. That's his 3rd point of the night. Great job by Hyman. Johnny Gaudreau, though, says, I won't be denied, and he ends up walking out. This is a beauty little shot. Look, we talk about it all the time. You shoot for ear holes. You always shoot short, and you shoot for ear holes on the goalie's helmet. That is what you teach a goal scorer. Well, Mike Smith been closing those all night, so Johnny Gaudreau adjusts. That's what the best do, and he ends up beating him low side, far post. Really nice job here by Gaudreau. This is just him being able to change angles and read a play. He is one of the better goal scorers in the NHL. I'm only going to say better now because he had a bit of a tough playoffs. Look, he did well, but he was no McDavid. He was no Kane. He was no Hyman, and he was no Draisaitl. So he did his best. Line 1 did his best. He ends up scoring. You're thinking, hey, maybe Johnny on the spot's going to go ahead and carry this team. Didn't happen, though. This play here, the puck actually gets jammed up in the referee's skates. It's just a little bit of an accident. Hey, look, the best friend of the Edmonton Oilers. Just kidding, Oilers Nation. Ends up grabbing an assist on this one as it ends up poking out to the Calgary Flames. Edmonton's unable to execute their zone breakout due to it. The puck goes in, takes a little bit of a weird bounce. Sometimes these bounces can bounce one way, which means it ends up on the offensive player's stick and he's going to be able to transition and score. Sometimes it bounces off other players, goes out of the zone, and gives a great opportunity for a team like the Oilers to put the puck in the net. This ends up on Jarnkrok's stick. He ends up shooting. Not a great save by Smith, to be honest. He can do better, but he's not expected to do better than this. He's just expected to keep it close enough. He does his job. The trade from the Kraken pays off here for the Calgary Flames, but it wasn't enough. Calgary back on the transition again because that's what Calgary does. Transition speed through the neutral zone. It's Draisaitl, of course. Why wouldn't it be led by one of the best in the game? They end up staying on side. Draisaitl is able to corral the puck beautifully. What you see here, though, is interesting. Edmonton isn't driving the mid lane, so that doesn't give a lot of room. Draisaitl actually has to do this one on his own. You need somebody driving the mid lane. You don't have anybody doing it right now. It doesn't push anybody back, but that is okay because when you are greatness like Leon Draisaitl, you are able to make things happen. They end up sneaking in, and who does he feed? He feeds the up and coming, almost elite, soon to be elite, will be elite, Evan Bouchard. Keith goes back to Draisaitl, up to Bouchard at the top. This will give you a fit. I mean, this is just incredible offensive zone movement. This is an elite team moving pucks down low, then to up high. 3 angle changes there on Markstrom. Nothing you're going to do about stopping that one. You just got to hope that your goalie can keep a few of these out because it does go a long way. So Bouchard ties it. We talked about Bouchard at the beginning of the season. I thought he was the biggest hidden gem on the Oilers. And you know what? I think you got a real gamer here. I think you got a top 2 defenseman. You might have a future top 20 defenseman in this guy. I love what I'm seeing from Bouchard. He has been on an exponential curve throughout the regular season from the 3rd pairing. Now he plays with Keith. He may be the 2nd best defenseman, and he may surpass Nurse before Nurse's contract is done. It's a real long contract, so having Bouchard up there is pretty good. We talk about this all the time. You got to have 2 or 3 really top-tier defensemen on teams if you want to compete. So when you have Nurse, you have Bouchard, and you have Duncan Keith on a little bit of a resurgence. I like what I see. Never mind mentioning Cody Ceci and a couple of the other boys back there. Here's the kicking motion goal for you right now. Now you can see, look, it's just a simple tie-up. You're going into the net. Coleman's going for a loose puck. The funny thing about this is this puck is likely going in regardless of whether he touches it or not. But Coleman gets his foot caught up here with Smith on the right side. He's on one foot and he ends up extending it. And I think it's just that little boot is why they ended up waving it off. I mean, you can see it here. Look, he's going one direction and then boop, just a little bit of a pop out there. That is the referee's opinion. And we've talked about it. My opinion doesn't matter. Neither does yours. Neither does theirs. Neither does the league because it's over. You don't replay. There's no redos. Done. No goal. Edmonton wins. The only comfort I can give you, Calgary, in this moment is that the best part about pro sports is there is literally always next year. I know it doesn't sound fun, but remember, like I said at the beginning of the video, the Edmonton Oilers were swept by the Jets last year. Everybody was giving him the Owen jokes. Who's your favorite Owen? Owen Hart, Owen Wilson. How about Owen 4? Ha ha ha. Trade McDavid, trade Draisaitl. What a difference a year makes. Calgary, you can be in the same boat. When you win the cup, the satisfaction of winning the cup, honestly, it's like this much. In terms of time, you're thrilled at the moment. You want to win the cup. It's the best thing you can do. And then next year, it's a new season and you're like, we have to defend the cup. Ask the Tampa Bay Lightning. They have 2 Stanley Cups. They're salivating for a third. All that matters in a results-based business is results right now. And right now, unfortunately, you lost. But next year, back in it. So chin up. It's just a game. And I'm a Jets fan. Ouch. All right, overtime goal. We're going to be watching Connor McDavid. He's right here. Look, you got a hand on his back. You've got coverage on McDavid. It's incredible to note that everybody knows when McDavid's on the ice and he still gets free. Look at this. Look at this. Oh, bye-bye. You're not supposed to switch players. This was the man on McDavid. You're not supposed to switch and lay a hit. And because you switch and lay a hit and you don't stick with your man like you're supposed to, McDavid ends up getting free. This is just the greatness of McDavid. It's just a little pivot and turn in the center of the ice. And I'm going to tell you this as well too, team. This is why he's so skilled. He is able to do things with his feet, with the puck here. You might just be saying he's only pivoting open. I've seen this 100 times. You'd be wrong. The way this guy can skate, pivot open with no wasted motion while his head is up, deciding what corner or low shot he is going to pick, well controlling the puck, knowing his body motion, and not losing any speed. That's the key to Connor McDavid's game. Every other player in the NHL that picks up the puck, naturally you're going to lose speed when the puck's on your stick. Nobody but Connor McDavid plays with the puck at the exact same speed right now in the NHL playoffs. That's what he does. There's a handful of players in history that have done it. Crosby can do it. You've seen Gretzky do it. They are a very, very select few. Connor McDavid just pivots open, bang, beats Markstrom, game, set, and match. All right, Calgary, I told you if you hung around long enough to the end, I'd give you a little preview of next year. Well, you all know this. If we head over to Cap Friendly, this is one of those teams that this is kind of an all-in moment right now. You know Johnny Gaudreau and you know Matthew Tkachuk and you know Andrew Mangiapane all need new deals. Now, you likely aren't going to lose Matthew Tkachuk or Andrew Mangiapane. They're restricted free agents. You own the rights. Johnny Gaudreau, though, can walk now at this point at 28. He may or may not want to go south. He is an American-born player. Maybe he wants to try somewhere else. And you know you have Zadorov, Killington, and Gabranson, so a little bit of that defensive depth is there. When you come down here and you take a look at the salary cap, it's dire. 22, 23, we go down to the bottom, and you take a look and you go, oh, no, it's actually totally fine. There's $26 million. So that's not too bad. It's not dire like some of the other teams that went all in and gave up a ton of their assets or have a bunch of bad contracts on the books. The lovely thing about only having a bunch of $4 and $5 million deals is that at the end of the day, you got some money to sign some guys. Now that Sean Monahan deal at $6.3 million on injured reserve right now, yeah, that goes ahead and shakes some of it off the books. I don't know what you're going to do with Monahan. That's a bit of a conundrum, if you will, a quagmire. Markstrom in at $6 million. That's pretty high. You got him for another 4 years. Most of these guys are either replaceable or possible to re-sign. Matthew Tkachuk's likely going to want about $10 million. Johnny Gaudreau's likely going to be looking for Mitch Marner money at least. So that's some pretty big cheddar. If you think about $26 million, that's basically going to take up everything. So it'll be interesting to see what the Calgary Flames are able to swing. Will they take a hometown discount? I don't know. Johnny Gaudreau could be looking to go to a city like the New York Rangers, who are an up-and-coming team and may have the roster space and cap space to go ahead and take him over, especially with Strome coming off the books, Andrew Kopp coming off the books. He may look to go to California, maybe some of the up-and-coming teams like LA or the Ducks. There's a lot of possibilities for Johnny Hockey. So is this Calgary's last hurrah? It really depends on what they can do with Tkachuk and Mangiapane first. Yes, Gaudreau is your best player, but I think it would be difficult to get Gaudreau in at the money that you're looking for with the playoff performance history that he's had. This year was better than he's ever done before, so let's give him credit where credit is due. He looked good this year at a lot of points in time. He just wasn't Connor McDavid good, but at the end of the day, who is? However, when you're in the conversation for Hart Trophy, shouldn't you be? Theoretically, let me know down below in the comments. Oiler fans, celebration time. So who do you want to play next round? Do you want to play the Avs? Do you want to play the Blues? Here's my opinion. If you play the Blues, I think that's a gift. Why? Because I think you match up beautifully against the Blues. I think your speed against the St. Louis Blues will terrorize them in the neutral zone. The Blues will go to play heavy, slow you down and clog you up, and you won't be able to clog up those top six. It will not happen. If you play the Avs are a very similar team to the Calgary Flames. They're actually almost identical in many ways. I think MacKinnon is a better player than Gaudreau. Yes, Gaudreau had a great season, but at the end of the day, I think MacKinnon is a much stronger force. You're going to have McDavid versus MacKinnon, which should be an interesting battle. Really great top six over there in the Avs. Deep defensive core, elite defenseman in Cale Makar. But again, Darcy Kuemper, I've had big question marks on Kuemper, so I think McDavid could make him Swiss cheese as well too. You're going to have to wait, stay tuned, and subscribe to this channel to get my prediction, but it should be a very interesting Western Conference final. Go Oilers. Congrats to the Flames on an amazing regular season. Thanks for being here, team. We'll catch you in the next one.